Well, welcome and hello to everybody out there, and happy Friday. You've reached the Just Jump In live stream, and welcome in. I hope everybody is doing well. Hello, Gopher Girl. First one to say hi gets a cookie, but it's a virtual cookie, so even at home you don't get one. It's just virtual. So if you're out there, make sure you say hi and let me know you can hear me. Always, the tech stuff always has to come first. Make sure nothing's going wrong. Jimmy, welcome in. Nice to see you in here. I want chocolate chip also. So I guess that means you can hear me. So let me go ahead and get started. So I have a couple of small updates. I kind of got sidetracked, I guess. I don't know if sidetracked's the right word, but, you know, I broke things. So, as you know, little drill bits don't last very long. They're not very strong. I had a set that my dad, two sets that my dad bought from Micromark, and they're like the 25 different drill bits or whatever, and those were much stronger than like the Walthers ones that you can get at the hobby shop. But what he didn't break, I've pretty much broken at this point. So I've bought a few at the hobby shop from Walthers, and they're and also at another hobby shop, another brand. I can't remember the brand, but they both weren't really strong. When I was in Chicago last year, I picked up this little guy at a really good price, and I should have bought two. Has pretty much all the sizes we're going to need for model railroading. So I used what I could there until I broke them. But what I was doing was putting the handrails in, and the handrails around the door, and then steps was what I was going to do next. So broke that off. So I had to wait a few days. I ordered some online from a company called Gyros, and it was a package of 12 pieces, and it was $9.99. I don't know if you can see them, and the glare won't let you see them, but they're that big. These are number 80, which is 0.0135 for the steps, which are 0.0126. And I went out, and, you know, I just got tired of trying to bend my own and everything. So I went out and I got them a pack from Tichy. I looked at a number of different ones, and these were the most cost effective, essentially. And I think there's supposed to be about 50 in this pack, I think. And I went with the ones that have the little step in them. See if I can pull a bunch out and see if you can see. Probably can't. There you go. So it has a little bend in them. I've bent ones like this before. It's doable, but I just decided if I'm going to do just a bunch of details, this is not going to qualify of any type of scratch build, so I scratch build them. So for whatever it was, $4, I think. I got so many. I have so many to go. The other thing is this. As part of a package. So at work, we have a rewards program if you do well, and I did well once. And so I had got some points, and they used like a third-party vendor. And they didn't have a whole lot from the hobby side. But they did have a Michaels gift card. So combined with, I think it was only a 20% discount, but it was a discount. It was like an online discount. Plus I had $5 rewards dollars because I spend so much there. So it was like $14.99 for this set of tweezers, as a lot of my tweezers were getting bent and used. So a nice set of tweezers. I was looking for like mainly this one. I know some people really like this bend when they're working, and I was looking for a quality pair at a good price. So with the $5 rewards, with the gift card I used, nothing came out of pocket, but I think it came down to like $7 and change with tax. So I have like 3 of these up there to use. And so far I like them. So it was a good purchase. So I got that. So I was using, because my favorite ones I can't really find anywhere, but they're getting a little bit beat up, and the other ones I have are all getting bent. They were one of these packs of a bunch of them. And a bunch of them are just bent up or gunked up with glue and stuff. Even this one on the tip of it is, I have to constantly clean off. So I got that. And so I got started, and so I finally got these through Amazon, and I got the one, I don't remember which side it was, but I got the one back on the side rails, and then I went ahead and went for it, and they aren't pretty, but they're on there. There are details that are on there. So it might not help from a super detail perspective, because with the 8P program, super detail, it's not just the amount of detail, it's the craftsmanship, and these aren't very well done. They're done, but not well. And so, but I got them through. What happened was I had 2.5 holes left on here to do, and that's when that one piece broke. So I'm like, I'll get a bunch and just have a bunch, and I'll break them. So now, with those on, my own detail was just the styrene to create some wiring to go throughout here. Let's see if you can see that. So I just added some styrene pieces to lift it off of the center beam, and then just took 4 pieces of styrene rod and just bent them off and connected them to the different pieces. No prototype, not a prototype thing, but again, to add detail to this. So that's as far as I got on this. And so I'm looking for other detail to put on. There are versions of this car out there that have a brake wheel on the end. So I was thinking I could do a brake wheel setting on the end with a chain potentially. There's a little bit of detail that came with the roof here that I threw on. There's lots of other little tidbits of details put on the roof, but I like what I did with the roof at this point. This keeps coming off. I'm gonna have to Reglue that on. I thought of putting you can't really see the gate here. I thought of putting a sign. You've seen that where they'll have some signs, whether it be like, I think the Pennsylvania Railroad had a shield on there. If somebody's using it for barnstorming and like elections and things, they'll put their slogan on there, that sort of thing. I could do an awning here. Sometimes you have that as well. That could be an added detail. And then I got to get back to trying the decaling. So the ones I created, these long ones, you can see I've gone through 5 of them, and none of them are on. Hey Ken, welcome in. Nice to see you in here. What I ran into is the edges, the long edges were curling up, and I couldn't keep them down for some reason when I took the when I got them attached. So then I broke up the wording a little bit to see if I can do it in smaller pieces. The other thing that was happening with this decal sheet was when I was moving the words, it was actually stretching them. It's like this decal paper is just not strong. And so I don't know that I'll be successful with any of them. So I may have to go letter by letter with the letters that I bought, or reach out to one of the decal companies to see if they could do custom decals. But I wasn't able to overcome the stretching that happened and the stretching and curling that happened on those. I certainly have more to do. I can try again. I have more of this paper. I can keep trying, but I don't know how successful I will be. So that was work on the private car this week. I also got some brake details as I was going to test them for. I was going to put details onto the gondola. So I was working on details for that. So I got some brake stuff for that, and I also picked up, and I figured if I'm going to do more freight cars that have brake wheels, I might as well just pick up a bunch of the brake wheels too. So I did that as options, but I haven't moved far with that. Again, I'm basically, this is not a final product, but I'm basically building it up like it is, so that I can then reprint it and redo certainly the bottom here. I have to put additional holes in these for some of the shorter wire. So this one, like here, needs an additional hole. So that's still to be done on that. So I haven't really moved on that other than getting the brake wheel for this. The next thing I did this week, and most of it was kind of hands-off kind of stuff, because again, I was in the office this week, and it'll be the last full week I'm in the office. I may cover for people from time to time, but I don't have to be in the office all the way through the end of the year now. So I can go back to being distracted. But what I started to do, again, to keep moving with stuff, is I pulled out the underbodies of the other Horizon passenger cars, and I started printing out some of the stuff I designed. Here's an air conditioning unit that I designed. Here are more of the sanders, and I printed them black, but I also printed them in this silk silver that I have. Here's these. We'll only have one air tank, so these print out, and then the wire goes in on both ends. There's a hole for the wire, and then there are little rings that are like support rings that wrap around. So printed that. I finally, it's showing that I'm getting better, and you can barely see how better I'm getting. And I don't know if I've got to get the light to shine on it the right way, and I don't think it will. Let me see if I can. So the way I designed this, like the prototype, has kind of this X and it's raised. It also has a latch here to open this box when needed. And I couldn't get it to print out. It was so small, but there you go. Now you can see I have a tiny little latch. It's not exactly the way I designed it, but it actually shows up. So if somebody's looking, I can say I actually did get that latch on there. And then a bunch of other small parts. And I'm printing out like 3 of everything. And this is what do they call these things? What did I do? I move stuff and lose it like right away. So the centerpiece is the main junction box, and it's really just a small rectangle with a ledge to it. I guess I can pull it out there. And that's just simply going to go in the center on the center beam. The cab car has a longer one, and then we have these shorter ones, and that will go on like that. What else? So the cross beams is also what I'm printing, and I've had some difficulty printing them. And the other thing I noticed reading through, so this one, for instance, came out too thin. So I have stuff printing. It's probably done now. I didn't notice when I was reading through the article and designing these, I didn't notice that it said to put in holes in those cross beams, or maybe I did, but I don't remember actually doing it. And I don't know if you can see that well either, because my light's off to the side. Let me see if, there we go. Let's see if that gives you some additional light. But there is some wiring to go through those beams. So before the show, I designed 3 holes to go into those little side beams, and that's what's printing now and should just about be done. Multiple attempts. The ones that I originally designed were way too tiny. They didn't come out. There's an effect that sometimes the layers shrink on these prints, so something that small can even get smaller. Then I don't know what I did here, but it got way too big. So these stand up like this. And let's see if I can get it on the light to show you. So they stand up like that, so it's way too big there. I did another one where I think I fixed it height-wise. Of course, you can't see that real well. But now I just printed them another time with the holes. So we're going to see how those come out. And so I'm getting back, and then the only other thing I did here, and that's hard to see too, but this styrene is has sharp edges per the article. I actually sanded these because these have been in place. So I sanded these a little bit, and wiring goes on top like I did. Very similar. That's where I stole the idea. There'll be it's a little thinner than this, but there'll be these like little raised pieces that hold in the wiring, and the wiring is like 4 pieces of styrene rod will go on there, and as part of it as well. So I'm just getting started with these projects to keep going, just keep moving and just keep in motion, because next week, Friday, I am taking an Amtrak train and I'm going out to New Jersey to visit my mother. And there's my mom. Hi, Mom. Welcome in. So I just to keep the momentum going, and if there's many of you probably know, like the Greenberg train shows are mostly out east, but they're owned by the same people who do the world's greatest hobby shows. There's 2 a year that are in New Jersey. Then they're in Pennsylvania and Maryland as well, and they go like every weekend. And so it's a 2-day trip to go from Minneapolis to Chicago and then to New Jersey. It goes through Washington and then to Washington, D.C., and then to New Jersey. It's a 2-day trip, so I'll be traveling Friday and Saturday, but I'll be able to go to the show on Sunday. The coffers are not filled, so what I get's going to have to be pretty strategic, unless I beg my mom to buy me stuff like I'm a 5-year-old, which I'm not opposed to doing. If I can find any New Jersey Transit stuff, I'll certainly be interested in it. There's just not a lot out there. If I can find any, I like the shows out there are bigger than the ones here in Minneapolis, and so they have a couple tool dealers out there. So if I can find tools that are useful, if I didn't buy this set of tweezers, I most certainly would have found a vendor out there that would have them and have a set that I could bring home. As you can see, I'm consciously trying to do multiple projects and keep moving with those projects. Jimmy, it's been a while since I've heard from you. What you working on? And Ken, I know you're always working on something. Curious what you're working on. I didn't see a podcast today come out this morning or anything. Wondering if we're going to see a podcast soon from the Crossing Gate podcast. I've been listening lately to a lot of other modeling podcasts. I want to pick up any tips or techniques that I can. Hey Daz, welcome in. Oh, Jimmy, I wish I could do that. That's a lot of shows and a lot in a row. But that's pretty cool. I was just looking for an item at Spring Creek, or the Spring Creek has. I was thinking of going ahead and adding lighting to this. And a lot of people are sold out of it. But Walthers has, I think, 3 different versions of lighting systems that are about $13 to $15, some more depending where you get it. If there's room in here, with the weight I have in here, I probably could even remove these weights, but I wouldn't mind putting lighting as a feature in here, as a detail feature. And Spring Creek has them in stock, and they're the cheapest. So I was looking the other day for that. But I'm also thinking, I could wait and go to the show and see if I could pick anything up. So Ken, are you buying 3D printed parts from him or cast parts from him? I know Ron has increased his 3D parts that he's added. Let me see. I was going to pull up my podcast to see some of the podcasts I have in my library from that. So there's a British one, I think it's British, called Model Rail Replacement Podcast. Recently I picked up on one called Model Geeks Podcast. Also Scale Model Podcast. One that does seasons, and the season just ended, but it's called Model Train Podcast. I've been a long time listener to Miniature Models Podcast. And there's another one called Model Railroad Talk, and I think the gentleman that does that one is in Iowa. And then there's Mike and Scotty Live, although Scotty doesn't do that as he comes on every once in a while, but Mike Rose, who is a modeler out on the East Coast, he's been on the Second Section podcast. I also listen to them, watch them. He's been on there a number of times. There used to be three guys that did this podcast, and then they kind of broke off from each other after a while. Then it was resurrected. So there's lots. Wiley Scale Models, or they call it Bench Time. They had a podcast they were on like every week, and then they pulled back for a while. Now they go on every month, and they just started a video podcast, so you can actually watch them as well. It's a father and son team. That's a good one as well. And the other one of my favorites is called The Roundhouse. And that's more than just, that's a little bit of modeling, a lot about the railroad industry, a lot about short line and private railroads, dinner trains and railroad preservation. There's a lot of railroad preservation on there. It's really interesting. I've been listening for a long time, and it's always good. So car rides have been good, going to the office 3 of the last 4 weeks, because I've been able to listen to a lot of podcasts, but still looking for that Crossing Gate podcast. Yeah, I can show the car again. Can cast parts always bugged me, because I could never paint them. I always had problems painting them. So here is, this is the Norman Fisher car, private car. And that's my grandfather, and that's Matt's grandfather. And hello, Matt. Hello, Ariane. But here is the, let's see if I can pull it out. Oops. Sorry, guys. That's as far as I can go. So here's the side of the car. Here's the observation and the grab irons. And then I did some work on the inside. There's a grandfather clock in there and a meeting table. But also painted the fireplace on there in the end. Some people can kind of see them through the window. But that's around the layout. Podcast is very good, and so there you go. So that's the car on network, which is interesting because it keeps saying if there's anything else that I can do. I think it's YouTube signal, but not entirely sure. So, okay. Good evening, Split Rock. Hoping that which is very weird that the stream is healthy, but yet it's freezing. Not sure really what's going on. All of our other devices seem to be working. Put more of our network resources towards the stream again. I apologize for that. Let's see if we can do anything else. Let me be right back. Alright, I'm going to have to do some investigating off stream to see why it's freaking out like it is. I'm not sure why it is. So I'm gonna continue on and hear when let me know when it is freezing if you can still hear me. So, and then we'll have to figure if, well, let's see. Because if you guys can't hear me and I keep freezing, then tonight. But if you can, Split Rock, what are you working on? A few projects. Okay, got it. So, I am not going to keep. So I'm not going to keep everybody on the stream because it would annoy the heck out of me. I apologize for having the problems. I will work on figuring out what those problems are because it's happened a couple times now. BS. I didn't have this issue specifically. And I didn't have it for the first couple of shows either with Streamlabs OBS. So what I will do is have a very premature good weekend. Maybe if I can get it working, maybe I'll pop in and do something this weekend as I'm working on stuff. But again, I apologize for that and have a